All right, so some bringing you up to date. You are allowed to cook anything that you see behind me. Basically, everything that was left over from the last two heats, you can have a go at. You should have a not that fridge. The same two refrigerators have equal amounts of whatever the heck it is they have. If you've got more than 5 gallons of milk, you've got somebody else's milk. Matt Klein has personally prepared your secret protein, and I personally went shopping for the secret other ingredient. So, the secret ingredient, Mr. Klein, the microphone is yours.
One of my favorite cuts of the pig, which was one of the shops today, is the copa loin. Very difficult to get through in an hour, and what I did is I actually left the fat cap and the skin on, so that way you guys have multiple different products that you guys can choose to make out of them. Okay, there's one each, approximately.
One each, you lay it on.
Okay, wow. And then in addition to that,
Both get one.
Chef Clive went shopping for annatto seed, typically used to make cheddar cheese yellow in Wisconsin. Very difficult to process in this time. Reach deep. Yeah, there's powder and seed. Reach deep into that encyclopedia that is deep inside your skull and make the best of it happen. Gentlemen, good luck.
45 minutes and counting, starting right now. There you go, 45 minutes and counting. Okay, we have the hood system on. That means the air conditioning is flowing through here. And again, as we said, it's still 45 minutes, even though they've been given an ingredient, the copa, which is underneath the shoulder, actually, in the animal, not too close to the surface. It's a beautiful piece of meat that sits in what is a well-exercised area. But for the most part, I'm going to ask Mr. Klein here also, it actually can be quite tender. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, so it actually comes from the pork butt, which is on the top part, and it's the first part of the loin. And it's the first part of the loin. So this is a traditional Italian butcher style cut. American butchers, they typically go through the third and fourth rib, so that way we get the maximum number of pork chops that we traditionally know in America. But in Italy, they really like to go for this copa loin and use a dry aging, curing process, and then similar to prosciutto, but in a much smaller capacity.
So again, it could be ground, it could be used for sausage, for pâtés. It's got a beautiful fat content to it. I would say relatively easily balanced. And again, you had mentioned to the chefs that you left the fat cap and the skin on there. So if you look at the coloring of the meat, gorgeous, because, you know, obviously with 45 minutes and a piece of meat that needs to roast, most likely you can see that's the first item that the chefs are going through. If you were here for the last heat, you would have noticed that obviously with the fish, they waited unless they were making fish cakes, as the gentleman from Board did. But in this case, it's very important for this heat that meat gets a treatment right away. So we're going 1-to-1 right here. Chef Landsberg is not messing around with his secret ingredients. He's going with the annatto powder right on top of the pork copa, and he's got hot pans on already. So he's just putting those two things together, and we'll see if he reintroduces the annatto powder to the pork dish again, but probably not necessary. And this is something that you might even see in an untraditional chorizo, the Spanish sausage. You might even see along with a little bit of smoked paprika or the Piedmonton, and a little bit of the annatto might be a mix in there for a little bit of color. Again, this heat is a little bit different because we opened up the pantry. Chef Clive has opened up everything that had not been used in the last two heats for the chefs to scan the back. So you can see the format's a little different because they're hitting the back table and going for access to all the ingredients that have been not used over the course of today. So just to clarify, even though you guys have probably been here all day, that we are in the third heat with the two that have won the last two. So Trevor Rivera from Marche, working with Josh Buckley, is his number 2 in his first competition. Did a great job last time. And then we have Michael Landsberg from the Oregon Electric Station with his sister Lowell is working with him in the front station here. So we're down to the last two. And we're going to wind this up at around 4:45, and we'll be announcing the winners of the People's Choice Award on the visuals on all the plates, the best bite, if you will, from the items that have been offered out in the main ballroom through the course of the afternoon. So right around 5 o'clock, we're hoping to be out there announcing the winners with awards and recognizing some of the fabulous students, both in the back of the house and front of the house, that have helped today. Judging criteria has not changed for the last round. Again, time has not changed, so we're just looking at presentation to a great extent. We're looking at flavor. Generally, certainly today, not unusual that in the last analysis, when the judges get together, the comments that you hear the most around the table are about what the flavor is like and how does the secret ingredient come through. Is it a little bit lacking on the backside, or does it come forward? So it seems to be a consensus with the 5 judges that are here today that we're really looking carefully at flavor profiles, texture, and we've hit the mark. Everybody has been done up to 2 minutes early, so the time frame is not a problem for chefs. These chefs recognize this by getting the meat in the pan right away. This pork copa benefits greatly from resting too, so even if this gets cooked in the next 25 or so minutes, the meat cut itself is going to benefit from sitting and resting either on the grill or on a rack or somewhere else. You can see the brilliant color that the annatto seed, or sometimes called achiote. Again, the second ingredients all throughout the course of the day, those of you guys have recognized there's been a theme, and the theme is they are subtropic and tropic ingredients from small bushes or trees. Tamarind pod off the tamarind tree in round 1. Sumac off the sumac flower. It's a red crimson berry that again is part of the Arabic, African, and Southeastern Asian. And now we're using acciato or annatto, which you see commonly in Latin-based cuisines as not so much of a flavoring agent, but certainly more of a coloring agent. So if you've competed once today already and you're coming into the second round, you're very familiar. There's certainly a focus on the fact that they understand the judges and what the judges are looking for. I noticed that in other competitions. That's part of the dynamic that's going on here, is that the competitors have a better idea of what the judges are looking for in these categories that they gain their points on. So again, each judge, there are 5 of us. Clive Wanstall is back to join us again. Alan Matthews is here again, Greg Garn, Lisa Benson, and myself as the final judges. And again, we're looking at preparation, which includes cleanliness. We got tagged on that last time. Boards, notice it changed over here, not using the same board for meat that you use for vegetables. So cleanliness, sanitation, food safety, demonstration of cooking techniques, and the complexity of the recipe, which last time I mentioned that it's not so much about the complexity as it might be more about the simplicity. With only 45 minutes, there's not a great opportunity to be overly complex. So you have to choose your ingredients carefully, and you need to think about how the flavor profiles will come together. Much like the last 2 heats, we have a lot of action right now. We have lots going on. We've got grilled tomatoes going on top of what looks like oregano, and then into the oven. We've got both chefs have chosen to already get the meat in the pan. They're both using a pan searing technique on top of the stove. They may go in the stove to finish. I would say that the pace with this third round is about 20% higher than it has been the last 2 rounds. So there's definitely a sense of deeper competition, definitely a sense of a stronger sense of knowing where they're going with the plates. And so we're definitely in high motion here. Second category for looking at judging numbers, compiling, presentation comes into play, visual feel, aroma, taste profile, the plate components, the texture of the ingredients, and overall palate. So those are all holding a total of 20 points. And then I don't know what's making or breaking the point spread. In the last heat, I believe we had almost a 15-point spread between the people from the chefs from Marche and the chefs from Board. The heat before that was a little bit less. So again, maybe the judges are getting more comfortable. Who's to say what that is? And now all of a sudden, the line's gotten quiet up here. But I was going to say, in the end, it seems that the last conversation the judges seem to focus on is how the secret ingredient plays into the final plate. And that seems to be, still carries the same amount of points. It's only 5, but it's certainly more of a discussion with the judges about how, in this case, how the pork copa is roasted. Does it have color on the outside? Is it caramelized? Has it rested long enough? And then how do they incorporate the annatto into it? Two very distinctively different dishes in the last round, where the secret ingredient was Oregon rock cod. And so the chefs from Board, Michael Autry, had decided to make it into a fish cake. And he actually put a little sumac in there and some vegetables and did a traditional breading of flour, egg, and panko, and made them into little quenelle kind of oval shapes and created a delightful fish cake, where our competitors that are back right now from Marche decided to just sear the fish on top of the stove. Again, it was a skinless and boneless fillet of Oregon rock cod. So now we've gone a totally different direction than we've been all day, because the flank steak in the first round was definitely a stove top or grill top cooking technique. No reason to put it in the oven. It had to be cooked rare. In fact, it was. Both competitors cooked it rare. Second round, fish, very delicate, cooks very quickly. But this round is very different. So nice job on the secret ingredient selection coming from the Lane Community Lane Community College culinary staff in choosing the secret ingredients and making sure that each round had a different challenge. And that certainly is the case with this round here. Earlier in the day, there was talk that this round was going to go with a William Rose rosé, or at least I had heard that. And I'm certainly happy to see that there was a shift made, and that the wine chosen now is the William Rose Pinot Noir. It's a 2013 vintage from the Willamette Valley. And again, it's an excellent pairing with the pork copa. The question is, and the question has been, we noticed both these bottles have had some liquid removed from them in one way or another, but the wine doesn't have to be used in the dish, but it is something the judges can actually take a sip of and talk about compatibility. Is the wine compatible with the food? Although in the last session we saw that the Müller-Thurgau was used in a reduction with the sumac, and so a white wine butter sauce was made using the sumac, which I had never ever seen before, so that was a treat. And that's what these competitions give, is a very spontaneous approach to cooking based on the foundation of what these chefs have learned over their careers and now are applying it to a time-crunched, sometimes spaced-crunched situation where they're vying for final prize. So if you haven't gone out and voted yet for either the best bite and the food that's being offered in the main ballroom, or taking a view of the dishes that are on display from the past two heats out in the dining room, from which one looks the nicest in terms of presentation, and that's certainly something the judges look at. You can certainly get out there and do a final vote on that to be involved in the People's Choice Award, which will be awarded at 5 o'clock this evening also. What are these gentlemen vying for? Might be a question that's raised in terms of why would they do this? Why would they subject themselves to 45 minutes of behind the stove heat, torture, and competitive possibility of cuts and burns and other things that go on in kitchens. And they really do it for the camaraderie, and they do it because they love what they do. I don't think that any of these chefs are really attached to the outcome, but we do have 3 items for the winner of today's Food Scene Eugene Iron Chef competition, and that is a trophy, which they'll get and be able to hold for a year, and then a Volrath 7-piece cook set with a chef's knife valued at $250 or thereabouts, and then a $50 gift certificate to Curtis. And then also when they do go up to Portland and compete, what's that? Next year. There's no trip to Disneyland, sorry. But they do get the paid for overnight when they go over to compete in the Oregon Bite Iron Chef competition for the state of Oregon. So one of these chefs today is going to be making their way up to Portland in August to compete against many other statewide chefs. They'll be on stage. Circumstance will change, equipment will change. It might be very hot outside, so everyone is different. This one seems quite luxurious to me with the hood system on and plenty of burners to use and high sense of camaraderie amongst the chefs. And I'm sure it gets a little more grueling up there in the big city. And then People's Choice Award for the best bite is also a trophy going to a restaurateur operator who has provided some nice bites for today's guests that have been roaming around here now for the last 4 hours. A nice place to hide on a rainy, gray day in Oregon. Couldn't think of a better place to be, actually, right now in the state of Oregon, watching this go on. Again, feel free to stand up, take a peek if you want over here at the red line, just looking at knife skills, looking at the rapid movement that's going on with the chefs. Michael, does this round feel any different than the last round?
It's all the same to me. I don't know.
It is. Cooking is cooking, and you possess the talent to say that, so it's all the same. From a technical standpoint, he's basically saying he's paying close attention to what's going on to ensure everything arrives in the fashion that he wants to see it arrive very soon, actually. Now we have already gone past the 30-minute mark, so we're well into over 15 minutes cut out of the 45-minute run. As again, there's a little over 28 minutes left in the competition. And again, if you take 5 off that, chefs are dealing with a little bit less time. We've seen the plates come out consistently 5 minutes before the plating. Again, it's been very consistent that nobody has struggled to get to the final minute of this competition. They've all proven to be very competent in terms of timing, cleanliness, and arriving to their six plate destination before the clock actually runs out. So that's been a pleasure to watch. I want to again reach out and thank the students, culinary, and otherwise here at Lane Community College that have assisted with resetting these stations, getting them cleaned up for the chefs. They did this twice now. They'll have to do it one more time before the evening is over. So thanks and kudos to the culinary students that have volunteered to come in and do that, and also to the camera and audio crew here, which are all Lane Community College trained underneath the mentors of Dean and Randy. Thank you for providing this as it's cameraed back out to the front room and giving visual cues to this event. There's lots going on. There's lots to catch on film. And then the question is, how do you put it all together? How do you put these dishes together in the end? We're seeing no less than 5 to 6 components on every plate. Whether it's a sauteed vegetable, whether it's a sauce, whether it's last term they made ricotta from scratch to make the labna, which is the Greek cheese sauce, a little bit like yogurt went on top of the fish. Everybody's looking to put at least 5 to 6 different components on the plate So that's technically where some of that skill comes in. And the judging, certainly, when you see that going on, no more than looking at least 4 to 5 plates, I should say pans, working right now, either in the oven or on top of the stove. We have lots going on. Coming up on 25 minutes. So we're 20 minutes into the competition. So again, we've, through the course of the day, in the secret ingredient category, round 1, we had a flat iron steak, beef steak, going with tamarind. Moved into, both competitors just did a quick sear and served it rare. Moving into round 2, we saw Oregon rock cod filet, skinless, matched with sumac. And in round 3 here, we moved back to an animal protein using the copa cut off the pork, the whole hog that was broken down this morning here at school by Matt Klein, and chose to put that with a little annatto seed or achiote powder or paste that goes into that. Looks like both chefs used it to rub the meat with. So the secret ingredient gets married together in the same ingredient in the end, which makes perfect sense given those two flavor profiles. Yes, there's been a request for mirrors so you guys can see exactly what's going on the stove side. But if you want to stand up close to the red line here and take a peek, that's fine. I'm going to do my best right now to just kind of give you... Yeah, you can come to the red line if you want. I'll step back further into the zone, if you will. Sometimes that's what they call that, the zone back here. The chefs are in their own zone. I wouldn't dare walk down the line. I'd get punched in the face. Beautiful color. There's been a note that the use of butter seems to be a little bit on the healthy side on this round here. I mean, it doesn't fat inspire fat? I mean, like pork, just add more butter, right? Yeah, a little more butter is better, as they say. So yeah, that was the old Anthony Bourdain adage, right? From Kitchen Confidential. That people always ask why the food tastes better in restaurants, and it was salt and butter, which is kind of a tragic thing in a way, but also beneficial. Beneficial to the flavor of the ingredients, that is. So we got some Bob's Red Mill, polenta, they also call them corn grits, that usually need to cook for about a good 30 or 40 minutes in order to get that silky, shiny palate to them. Otherwise, they get a little bit on the grain side. Still got pork in the oven down on the Marche side of the stove, if you will. Question with this piece of meat, this copa, you actually could just cook it to a medium rare or a medium stage if you wanted to. It's not going to eat that tough. It'll depend. And this came up in the last round. I should say the first round with the steak that was cut. It needs to be sliced in some cases. So we'll see if those competitors actually slice the meat for the judges or whether they leave it whole. Take a little bit of a risk there. We don't have really sharp knives on the table, so we have to take a look at that. Depends on the size that goes out too. Wow, they look lovely. Coming up on 16 minutes. So in the mind of a chef, that's about 11 minutes before they want to see their plates come down. Definitely get the sense that we're pushing the wire a little bit more right now, which can give, the adrenaline factor that goes on with this can definitely elevate the results that we see. Chefs might wait to the end. Some of these chefs are doing, 300, 400 covers a night in their restaurants. So when it comes to plating 6 plates, they could probably do it in less than a minute if they had to, just because they're practiced at it and they're used to much higher volume. The thing they're not used to, obviously, is the environment they're working in, and they may not even be used to the plate they're making. They're picking and choosing certain elements of starch, vegetable, sauce, choice of meat technique that they know. But these are, as I said in the last 2 heats, most likely, and we should ask the chefs, these are not dishes that they have prepared in this exact form before. They're piecing together what they know based on what they were given. So again, the final dishes that you see in this competition are usually only seen once. And I know down in the Ashland Culinary Festival, they tried to recipe the ingredients from the chefs, and if you ask them tomorrow what they did, they may not remember. So it's tricky. It's tricky to take this type of cooking and say, can I have a recipe for that? Because honestly, chefs, as you can see, are not using recipes. The best chefs were probably trained on technique, not trained on recipes. That's one of the things that I struggle with in culinary school. It's like, why do we give them recipes? We should really just give them techniques and competencies and outcomes and really focus on that. So when you get to the point where these chefs are at and you have high comprehension of technique, you can insert it to any ingredient you want, as long as you know how those ingredients behave. So for example, tomatoes give off water, potatoes get crispy, greens are bitter, corn polenta needs to cook for at least 30 minutes, cheese needs to be put in at the end, butter needs to be added at the end. There are all kinds of calculations that they're running through their heads right now that are going to really be determined in the next 14 minutes. It's all going to have to come together. I was talking to Lisa a few minutes ago, and this is so impressive to see I've talked to a few of the competitors today, and especially their sous chefs, and how committed and how excited they are about this as a profession and how passionate they are. The sous chef from board was telling me that he was up till 5 o'clock in the morning reading a book by Charlie Trotter, who was a famous chef in Chicago, who passed away a couple years ago, called Lessons in Excellence. And he was so excited to stay up for 3 or 4 hours reading about lessons in excellence. So I'm excited to see the passion level that's here behind the stove, because it really translates to the plates. And we've seen that in our tastings throughout the day, that there's a wonderful translation of flavor, complexity, color into the final plates. But again, a little more of a challenge with the final round with the pork copa. Requires a little more attention, a little more time, and they have some choices. They can actually prepare it 2 different ways. Depends what they want to do with the fat cap. As Matt Klein mentioned, the skin is still on the pork. What are they going to do with the skin? Are they going to use it and do something that you see in Latin cuisine called chicharron? And chicharron is just the crackling of the outside skin. Usually it's got to be poached in water a couple times and then crisp up, but they don't have that much time. So again, what are you going to do with it when you only had 45 minutes and now we're coming up on 12 minutes? 12 minutes before we start to see plates come down. Thank you all for filling the room. I think this is the largest crowd we've had all day back here in the studio kitchen. So thanks for that. But again, at 5 minutes, we're going to open up the audio to the ballroom and get the individuals out there involved in this last 5 minutes. We're going to ask from your participation from an audio standpoint to give us a little bit of shout out and a cheer to get these guys to the finish line once we hit that 5 minute mark, which we have done all day. And then we'll take the good 15 minutes or so and do a quick analysis and point administration to each dish, and we'll be announcing the winner of this last heat, hopefully shortly after 5 o'clock. And that would be the scorecard. Lisa's very good with numbers. She's been adding everything all day.
Oh man, I'm good at it.
She referred to herself as OCD with the pencils. That if it wasn't in your hand, it had to be in the glass. See? Yeah. And right now I notice she went and got steak knives for us. So thank you for your support and making sure the rest of us pay attention. And what we're doing is we're paying attention to the scorecard, which is addressing preparation, organization, cleanliness. You guys can use your own eyes on that one. Demonstration of cooking techniques. We got, again, we haven't used the grill. We've been stovetop and we've been in the oven as far as technique, and we're seeing a lot more hot food than we have. In the last 2 sessions, we've seen some slaws, some salads, some mizuna. We've seen some cold preparations, but this dish requires a little heavier hand, and that means sometimes it means a little bit of all hot food across the way, and that's what I'm seeing. I don't see any finished lettuces out here at this point, so cooking techniques have shifted a little bit in the last round, and like I call this 10-minute mark coming right up, a little past 10 and a half minutes. So chefs are looking at about 5 minutes before plates go down. You can see that right now. Josh is already making some space to lay his plates out. He did that in the last round. He chose to flank. Looks like they might be going to the front table this time. A little front table action. We'll see what they do here in a minute. And then in the category presentation, looking at visual appearance, which today everybody has scored high with color and texture and visual appeal. I call it respecting the rim. The plates are clean. The plates are not sloppy. Nobody's putting chopped parsley on the edge of the plate erratically. And we have Pinot Noir. It was a good choice. How did we go from rosé to Pinot Noir? That was a great choice.
The winemaker decided at the last minute that this would be a better wine to use. He's right there.
That was a good choice on your part. Thank you so much. Comment on the. Would you like? You. So Pinot Noir. Did the pork drive that decision?
Partly, but also the French backgrounds of the two competing chefs, and I figured a bit more of a challenge. Pork and rosé typically works really well for me, and that's my go-to. And it's a little colder and wetter outside. I'm one of these people that what I feel like drinking depends a lot on the weather, and it's a little more red wine-ish, and given the backgrounds of the chefs, something Burgundy influenced seemed like a good idea.
What is the best Pinot Noir clone for growing wines in Oregon in the Willamette Valley?
How long is a piece of string? What I mean by that is, every single site that I've worked with in the Willamette Valley, and I've been here almost 10 years, has its own unique characteristics that, depending on what Mother Nature gives us that year, really excites a winemaker or makes a winemaker go, oh, I want to work with this site this year, et cetera, et cetera. The different clones will do different things. Some clones in a warmer year give us the lightness and freshness, retain more natural acidity, make them more food-friendly wines. In cooler years, some other clones give us more robust characters, et cetera, et cetera. So there's no straight answer. It's different farms are going to give you different produce depending on the season.
This is the great aspect of Oregon, I think, and the microclimates that we have, the Willamette Valley, the alluvial soil, the changing climate change itself. All that stuff plays into what you do. So you're a little bit like a chef, as you said. You're constantly adapting to what's actually happening. 100%. 100%. Great.
So one thing worth mentioning is that, in the restaurant industry, we don't say no. So who you see in front of you right now have put in several hours, and they're going to go work a busy Saturday night and maybe do between 300 and 600 covers after they're done here. Work till midnight. Pretty impressive.
Yes, arduous work it is. But a lot of chefs will tell you that they don't look at the clock. Their sense of timing is not tied to their watch. It's tied to the quality of their work and how long it takes to do it right. So that's a compliment to the hospitality industry and all that you do here.
Not for the weak or faint of heart.
Not for the weak or faint of heart. And all that you do here at Lane Community College to at least give students a foundation to work from, and then from there, hopefully they find great mentors out in the field. They have learned. I wanted to ask Chef Clive because he gave us the temperature of the plates in the last round. You said one plate was 136, the other plate was 131. How did you use an infrared thermometer to do that? How did you know? Did you? Okay, I thought you said mental telepathy. I was like, how'd you do that? Infrared laser. Yeah, there you go. Everybody should have one at home, right? Well, the mention, we're coming up on 5 minutes, so we're going to need your help here in about 38 seconds. But the point was that one team of chefs in Marche screaming hot plates in the oven, they're relying on cool down time, where the other team has just taken them to the temp that they think that the food will hold best. So here he is doing temp checks on plates right now. What do you got there, Chef Clive? Doctor. What? I thought you learned to do it when you were a food inspector. Health inspector. All right, here we go. We're going to need a little bit of help from you guys in about 3 seconds. 2, 1, because the camera's going to go with the audio out to the main. What do you say? What do you say about this? Pretty amazing day, I would say. Pretty amazing. So yeah, we're audio and visual out in the main ballroom right now. So we are in the same place we have been in the last 5 minutes. They got plates down. Half the food is on the plate. We're seeing nothing but good timing, stellar results, incredible focus. And again, you notice the conversation is minimal. This is not tea time over here. This is really about just community work, silent communication with one goal in mind, and that is to get the best plate out that you can. What'd you come up with?
We came up with 118 degrees on our right, and directly in front of us, we have 128 degrees. So the winners on the temperature of the plate would be Michael Landsberg by 10 degrees.
Sounds like the difference between living like in Manila and living in Saudi Arabia to me. Wow, again, much more full-bodied, like entree food. No mistaken, this is like a dinner entree. Coming up 3.5 minutes, so obviously we're not in a point of stress or wondering whether we're going to make it. We're just in that final phase of adjustments, saucing, garnish if applicable. Again, you guys that have been eating for years have noticed we are totally into edible garnishes now. Nobody sees tomato roses or sprigs of rosemary crawling off the plate, and you don't know what to do with it. When you get food like this, you know exactly what to do with 100% of it, and that is to eat it. So it's been a nice transition over the last 20 or 30 years to see how cuisine has evolved to this point. Again, where it's very ingredient reliant, very much to the moment. In classical cooking, they call that à la minute, to the minute. And these guys are definitely down to the minute. It's where you get your most satisfying results. It's where you get the best aroma off the plate, which is actually part of the judging criteria. Looking very much like a restaurant service right now. We got plates coming up. If we had waiters here, we'd have them taking this food out right away. Again, we don't close the food or cover it anymore. We saw that was a damaging factor. That steams the food. Food comes up, sometimes doesn't even see a hot lamp and goes right out. And the idea behind that is that you get the food in its most natural form, unadulterated, undamaged, not subject to anything that it shouldn't be in the final round here. So again, nice to see some sauces, some nice sauce work going on at the end. So again, judges are going to be looking at, give it up, give it up. We'll hand the microphone to the chefs, and they'll give us a visual and a verbal description of what they created and why they created it and how they approach the ingredients. So if we're at that point, I'm going to defy the clock and just get their microphone, I think, into Trevor's hand here in a minute, and then he can, unless he wants to hand it to Josh, I don't know. It's a team. You guys are unified. Thank you, chefs. Great job, great timing, great effort. With a minute to spare, effortless. You make it look so effortless. So I'm going to hand the microphone to Trevor first to give us the great details about why you went the way you did and how you arrived there.
So I've never really messed with that stuff that they use to flavor the cheddar cheese with. So I don't know, first instinct, tasting the wine, it was really chocolatey. So I don't know, for some reason I went polenta. And so basically polenta with cheddar, I used that the secret ingredient in that with cream and butter. We threw in some sun-dried tomatoes into that, just kind of brighten it up so it wasn't so heavy. Pan-seared the pork. I did a little bit of butter, thyme, and that. And then with the sauce, because of the chocolate of the wine, I took the wine that we used, reduced that down, added some cream, threw in some mushrooms into that. And then I also used some cocoa powder to kind of accentuate into the wine. And, you know, I'm always a fan of hazelnuts. So I thought those would be a good thing on that. And then we just kind of threw some greens on there to give it a little bit more lightness and some more veg onto that. But yeah, thank you guys very much.
So there's a little cocoa powder in the sauce then? The cocoa powder with the red wine in the sauce, yes. A little bit of pork essence, if you will, from the pan. And then you said there's cheddar along with the annatto in the corn grits. Okay. There are pigs in Oregon that actually feed on hazelnuts to fatten them up sometimes. So it's an appropriate pairing as it is. Ooh, I love these colors, very bright colors. I'm going to hand you the mic this time and give us the lowdown.
Actually, my sous chef is going to give us the lowdown.
Hi, everybody. Well, we have a pork copa. We slow seared it for a while, get nice and tender, and we got some braised leeks and kale. We made a sauce out of the beets and the natto, a little lemon in there, cooked it down, some breadcrumbs with a natto, and the skin, we slow cooked it also to make it nice and crispy and juicy in the center at the same time, and finish it with a little sprig of cilantro.
Any questions from the judging panel? Detailed questions? Not yet. Okay. Okay, so let the judging begin. And thank you both chefs for extraordinary efforts. Okay, as we said, we'll do some feedback session here with the chefs, but then we'll move back out to the main ballroom for whoo-hoo! 98.8 and dying, right? I was just going to grab my sheet for notes, and I'll lead off and hand the microphone around to everybody else. That the CPA is. You go ahead and start, please do.
I'm going to start because I didn't have anything to say last time. And there's a lot of people that are very grateful for that. Normally the audience. Outstanding work by our chefs, don't you think? Definitely some of the better looking cooks we've had in this kitchen. That upset some of the students, apparently. There you go. I'm going to be brief because I'm not going to be complex. I love the polenta style. I think that was kind of fun. I liked all the layers that were taking place in there. It was very cool. I thought that it was built well. You showed lots of great technique, and it's obvious that you use those techniques on a regular basis. I saw two very effective teams taking place here. I saw a very powerful communication. I saw body language that indicated that these people work together. And when you see two people that can dance on the stove, then you know, and that's what it is. We're dancing. It is a dance. You got a hot skillet in your pan and you're standing behind somebody. They want to know you're there or that you can move quickly. So the performance from both kitchens was very good. The Marche team, obviously, they're on the line a lot together, so it showed a little bit more. I know that Lalo and Michael may not work together quite as much because Michael's style is similar to mine. You give them the information and wisdom, and then you make them do it. I'm just saying. Yeah. So great technical work from Michael and Lalo. I really love the fact that you didn't bother me with a starch because you'd know I'd eat too much of the polenta anyway. So save me some carbs there. God knows I need it. But you gave me that extra layer of fat. And who doesn't like that? On a cold winter's day like today, even though it's an Oregon spring. So two great performances, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to let the technical prowess come out from my dear friend, Corey Schreiber, the James Beard Award-winning MC.
I can take a look at it if you want. Which one? Oh, there, the guy with the CS on there. Who's that? Do it. Yeah, that's stands for something. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll be quick because I know that we're running the clock here. On the hood off. Is my voice fading after 5 hours? One comment Clyde and I had was just, you guys were tough because you'd love to take that whole copa and just roast the whole thing to about medium rare and then slice it, and that's the way that I've done it, and it has spectacular results. But you were in a time crunch; you had to cut it, get it in the pan, and so we found was that the meat was running over. I think in both cases, and you guys saw that. I don't know if it was a big markdown, but again, time and space—that's hard to do. So I did notice that, but I did like the touch of taking a little of the crackling in the skin off, giving that little more of a brown in the pan. I know that you pointed that out to Lalo, and that was a nice touch to have that on there. Love the netto and the beet. Really, really great combination. And even though tomatoes, as you know, are out of season, somehow that tomato tied itself nicely into the beet and the natto. I thought it was very creative, innovative mix of flavors that I haven't had before. And I like the separation in the sauce. Sauces don't always need to be totally emulsified and bound together. You can play it a little bit loose if the flavor's there. And in your case, the flavor was there. And I thought the breadcrumb gave it a nice touch, as far as because like you said, no starch, but a little bit of bread, just half a tablespoon went a long way, with a little texture on there and extra flavor. So nice job on that. Love the polenta over here with Marche. We talked about the meat a little bit. Loved the hazelnut cocoa mushroom blend that kind of sunk across the whole pork. I thought that was really, even though we don't grow cacao here in Oregon, we might someday. Climate change is on the way. It'll happen, and that'll be a totally regional dish at that point. So you are ahead of your time, from what I can tell. You're a little ahead of your time. But I thought that was maybe the weather inspired you. Like Clive said, it felt like that was the dish that you'd have at home on a little colder, but not wetter day than today. So the vegetable cookery was fine, but I was most impressed with just that layering of flavor between the red wine, the cocoa, the pan drippings, and then the hazelnut, and then the mushroom with the dark cook on that. I thought that was great compatibility. So thank you both so much. Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to follow the commentary from these two gentlemen now. No pressure, no spotlight. First of all, I mean, we had 6 incredible dishes tonight. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, the cooking that went on in here. And for those of you who weren't here earlier, I think it was just fascinating because of the cut of the meat that you guys were given. The kitchen moved a lot faster, it seemed, this time around than it did in the previous 2 rounds. So my kudos to both teams for doing that. And I really liked what both teams did with the pork. It tasted delicious on both dishes. This is probably one of the toughest aspects of it because I thought the dishes were so close together. Again, the polenta, I know it's been commented a lot. I thought that was a great addition to your dish. I also like the use of the leeks, the use of the roasted tomato that was in your dish as well. So, I mean, they were just 2 fabulous dishes. And I think this gives people an idea, and Eugene, the fabulous food that we have that is just at our fingertips.
Well said. So I like that you guys both started off the same. You cut your meat into little loin pieces, and then you rub some powder on it. You guys took the skin and fat off. You guys left it on, and then you doctored it up. I think that yours was more of a summer heavy meat dish and yours was more of a winter heavy meat dish. I'm not a big meat eater per se. I like a lot of fresh veg and I like a lot of sparkle on the plate. I thought your guys' plate was technically excellent. The one thing that I would say is it needed a little bit more sparkle. And to me, that means like a little bit more acid, kind of heavy polenta, heavy fat. If you did something to make it sing a little bit, that would have really taken it up a little bit more for me. Other than that, I thought the meat was tender and it was beautiful. The colors popped. It was gorgeous. Lalo, Michael, you guys did a great job as well. The skin and the fat wasn't my favorite because, I'm not a big meat eater, so eating a big chunk of fat's not the thing that I want to do every day. However, I tried it. Both of your sauces were excellent, and you both incorporated vegetables nicely. I loved how you shared all your ingredients. I thought there was a lot of camaraderie and teamwork in the room tonight, and I really appreciated that, so thank you.
I think both plates were amazing. Trevor and Josh, the hazelnuts and the mushrooms and the red wine sauce and all that together, polenta, that was off the charts. Really, really good. Really liked it. For Lalo and Michael, Chef Michael, the meat was incredible. The sauce was great. Really, the tomato, really enjoyed it. Thanks, both of you. All of you.
So I just want everybody in the room to know that it's a dead heat. It's almost a virtual tie. There's very few points in between both teams. So consider them both winners, even though we have to pick one. If you guys would join me in the front room, we will get on stage and say who the actual winner is. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lisa Benson. I am a faculty member here at Lane Community College in the Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management program. Oh yeah, thank you. This is our first annual Food Scene Eugene event, and we are hoping to do this every single year. So if you had a good time, we want you to come back next year. I had the honor of being one of 5 judges for Iron Chef. I've been eating all day long. I won't be eating for 4 more days. I have a couple of awards to give out. Should you be interested to know who won? Do you want to know who won? Yeah. I like this crowd. This is awesome. Okay, so let's start with the People's Choice. Well, I'm gonna switch it up. Let's start with the best bite for today. We had several people in the running. Noisette Pastry Kitchen. Right? Yeah. Carte Blanche Catering was here. Oregon Electric Station, Chef Becky. Cornucopia, Party Downtown. They party. Where's my partiers? Yeah! Oh, there you are. Lane Catering, that's our own home field, right? Home field advantage. Red Wagon Creamery, they make the best ice cream in town. I probably shouldn't say that out loud on the microphone. I'm a little biased. Where's Stewart? Belly Taqueria, Board and Marche. The winner, where's my Vanna White? There you are. All right. Oregon Electric Station, best bite. Michael Landsberg, come get your prize. We have this really cool ice cube looking thing that says Food Scene Eugene, best bite.
Thank you.
Yay. We did a pigs in a blanket, cotton blanket.
That's all right. Awesome. Thank you so much for.
No, it was a spiced bacon with sesame seeds, Old Bay, brown sugar, and then we just wrapped it in applesauce cotton candy.
That's all we did. We just did that. It's so easy. I don't know. Nice. Thank you very much. Okay, next we have People's Choice Award for Iron Chef. We had lots of participants. We had 3 heats, as you know. Brendan and Mikey from Belly Taqueria were here. Trevor and Josh from Marche, who were in the final heat competition. Their peeps are in the house tonight. I can tell. I like the excitement. Michael and Pierce from Board. Where are you guys? Where are you? Where are you? They were here a second ago. And Michael and Lalo, that were just here. And from OES. And the People's Choice Iron Chef Award goes to Oregon Electric Station. It is a $50 gift certificate to Curtis Restaurant Supply, so you guys can stock up on cool stuff for your house or your work. Here you go. And probably what you're all dying to know is who won our Iron Chef competition. Whoever wins this goes to Portland in August to compete for the title of Iron Chef Oregon, which is a pretty big deal. It was very close. I had to say that there was like a 4-point spread out of 200 points possible. It was almost a dead heat tie. The camaraderie in the kitchen, the technical execution from both teams was amazing. I got to eat their food twice today, as did our other 4 judges. Spectacular. Unfortunately, we had to pick a winner. Or fortunately, we had to pick a winner. And today it's Marche. They're going to keep it for a year. Okay. So this block, they get to keep for 1 whole year. It's going to live at Marche or wherever they go to work if they're going to get stolen from you, Carl. That might happen now. They're famous. This is going to live with them for a year, and then they have to come back next year and compete to defend their title. Yeah. You guys also have this awesome gift set back here, and you guys can pick who gets what. Okay. Yeah, and you want to say some words?
Hey, I just want to thank everyone. This was such a fun experience. Everyone here, everyone that was invited, it was such a fun time. And this is pretty rad. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, everyone who came out. It was excellent working with you, buddy. To everybody we competed with, everybody did an excellent job, and I'm really proud to be here. Thank you.
So if you would indulge me for about 2 to 4 more minutes, I want to make sure that I explain that this event would not have happened without our entire students and staff from the Center for Meeting and Learning, the Faculty of Culinary and Hospitality, and all of our amazing students. Every single culinary student worked on this event. Every single hospitality management student worked on this event. And I teach a class called Event Management. And I have 5 students this term. They're getting their certificate in event management. If they would all come up here and join me, I want to recognize each of them because they were an integral piece of putting this event on. So you guys coming here support education at LCC, and we wine you and dine you. It's a good trade, right? What's that? Okay. Oh, there she is. So we have Kaylee, Melanie, Christy, Kaylee, and Shauna, and they made this event happen along with myself and Shelly Kane. So there we go. Can I have all hospitality and culinary students that are in the room come join us on stage, please? You know who you are. Come on up. There's no catwalk, and then I'm going to make you walk today, like yesterday. You want to? You got to make your own catwalk. We have a lot of love and passion for our students, and we have a lot of love and passion for our industry, and I love that you guys are all here being Eugene foodies, and we hope to see you next year. Thank you very much. Have a good night.